Might count Debbie, we're good. Oh, it's still 12:52.
Okay, it's now 1 p.m. and we're here for a procedure to adopt some new proposed changes. And I'm going to turn everything over to our board president, Dr. Debbie Mack.
Thank you, Lenora. I'll take roll real quick just to make sure who's present. Dr. McCready. So we have Rodney Richmond.
Here.
I'm here. Brian Jolly.
Here.
Lenora Newsom.
Present.
Clint Boone.
Here.
Lynn Fouché.
Lynn's on Zoom.
Okay, Lynn, you're on Zoom.
Present. Yes.
Thank you. Harold Simpson
Here.
and Beth Ann Davenport, I believe you're on Zoom as well.
Here.
Okay, everyone's here and I will turn this over to Brenda.
Good afternoon. Board staff present would be Ashley Bales, the board attorney, and myself, Brenda McCready, the assistant director with the board. We have scheduled this afternoon the hearing on the summary of the proposed changes. And I think all the board members have a packet that summarizes each one of those changes. The only written comments we received would be in support of the pharmacist to support staff ratio, which came from Walmart. I have copies of that letter if anyone would like to read it. We also have copies of the summaries if anyone here would like to have a copy of them. And I'll kind of go over them. The proposed changes to the rules. The first one is the practice after inactivity. And that basically is going to open up the basically a venue where if you've been out of practice for more than 2 years, you'll come up here before the board to determine where you need to go to get back into the safe practice of pharmacy. We have a change that's going to clean up the language regarding CE requirements and test scores. And that's basically a change that there's some language in there that the board doesn't control regarding testing scores. It's also taking out some old language for continuing education. Previously in the law, it had the implementation dates, and we're cleaning all of that up as far as cleaning those up. We're going to have, there's some information regarding intern expiration licenses and supervision. I think the board has pretty much, they have the packets, and I'm going to, the Administrative Procedures Act has been followed for all the proposed rule changes. Public notice was made 30 days prior to the hearing, and all required paperwork for these proposed rules have been filed with the Legislative Council. And with that, I'm going to open it up to see if there's any public comment on any of these that we've been over. It's in the packet and we'll take the packet in its entirety. So if you have any comments, it is open for comment at this time.
We need to acknowledge the written comment that we submitted.
I did make a note that there was a written comment. The only comment we had for the ratio change was from Walmart, and we do have a copy of that to put into the record. So any public comment in favor of the changes? Any public comment in opposition to the changes? Do we have anybody on Zoom that has any opposition or is in favor of the changes? So seeing no further comments on these changes, I'm going to turn it back over to the board president for a motion by the board.
Okay, and Dr. McCready, are we gonna it's all one group will vote?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we have no comment, so I would like to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Second.
Brian Jolly, I heard, and second was
Rodney Richmond.
Rodney Richmond. Okay, at this time, would like to take a vote. So all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes. Dr. McCready.
Okay, secondly, we have, we've passed out some written policies that we are looking at for implementation for Act 630 of 2025. The board all has a copy. Anyone here that is present that would like a copy, we do have some copies, and we'd like to take a motion from the board to approve policies so that we can go forward with Act 630 of 2025. If there's any questions, we are open for questions.
Be clear, this is not so much policy as it is just a plan.
This is actually more of an implementation for the procedure on how the board will handle the applications. Where board staff will start with as far as identifying who we need to contact, what the future board meeting will look like, what the paperwork that we will send out to all of those that are affected by this law, and what information that we will obtain from them and then get them scheduled for a future board meeting. I can go through this a little bit if you'd like me to. Basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. It talks about the review process, that we'll have to know who the manufacturer is, a contact person, the Arkansas permit number, that type of thing.
And that is currently, they filed for an injunction on that. The state's responded, but we have no hearing date and no court order enjoining us at this time from enforcing that.
So do we need a motion to approve? Make a motion that we approve as presented?
I'll second it.
So I did hear Clint Bean was first and second Lenora.
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to take a vote. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Dr. McCready.
The other thing I have before we start back to the informals, in the past, the Arkansas State Board of Pharmacy has supported the Prescription Drug Summit. It will be November 18th of 2025 this year. And we would like to ask the board if they would consider supporting that drug summit again with a $5,000 stipend to that summit.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll take a vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, Dr. McCready, that passed.
Okay. I will check with Ms. Bales, but I think that pretty much covers what we needed to cover this afternoon for the public hearing on the rule changes. And I'll turn back over to you, Dr. Mack.
Okay, is there anything else you would want from the three of us on Zoom, or would we hang up and let y'all continue.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We will,
Okay.
the hearing is open until 1:45, based on our publication with the board. So I would say that you would need to remain at least on Zoom until 1:45.
Okay.
And then at that time, you can go ahead and leave the Zoom meeting. So you want to go ahead?
Okay, so do you want me to take a vote on the hearing's over or wait till 1:45?
We can
So we-
adjourn. I think we might need to reconvene if we have someone that wants to come in and speak. There's not anybody here. I've checked with everybody in our audience. They're here to observe and not speak. So I would just say our Zoom members need to sort of be on standby and available for us to reach you if we do need to reconvene. Obviously, we won't reconvene at all after 1:45 for those on Zoom.
So
Okay.
what effect would anyone who shows up who wants to make public comment, what impact will that have on the votes we've already taken?
I mean, you could reconsider your vote, but we have to leave it open for that designated time period. So I think you could adjourn for now, subject to being recalled until we go back to informal conferences at 1:45.
Does
Okay,
that
well,
need
we
a
had
motion in
we had a
writing?
motion in a second. I guess we can take a vote if we want to adjourn, but go ahead and finish whatever you're saying.
Say motion to adjourn, subject to recalling if someone does show up wanting to speak publicly.
Okay. And we have, okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that will pass as well, Dr. McCready. The three of us on Zoom will get off, but we'll be available until 1:45. If you need to call us, we'll be happy to get back on.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to
Thank
see
you.
y'all.
Y'all have a good meeting.
and so the board will adjourn until 1:45 unless we have someone come in that wants to speak for or against the information. So we will be adjourned until 1:45.
Thank you. Dr. McCready, I'm on here.
You're on mute.
Okay, let's start that again. Debbie, we have not had any comments. It is now 1:45. We've not had any comments for or against the regulation changes or rule changes. And with that, we will take a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'd like to take a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions or concerns? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Dr. McCready, that passes.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
See you, Debbie.
Bye, thank you.
Bye,
Deb.
see y'all.
And we need to resume our informal conferences, and I've got two people out waiting if you want to go ahead, or we can take a break.
Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. I'm Brenda McCready. I'm the Assistant Director here at the board. We are here. We've got your application. We're gonna go over some issues that came back on it. I'll introduce the rest of the board members first. We have Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of this committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Rodney Richmond, and Harold Simpson, who is our public member. This is Ashley Bale. She's board attorney. Dr. Kirtley is normally here, but he is out at a meeting this afternoon.
Okay.
And I will turn it over to you, Dr. Newsom.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me give my summary real quick
I
first.
apologize.
Miss Chase Fleming did not disclose on her application that she had ever been arrested or charged with anything. There are two incidents in the past that we need to discuss with her. From 2010, she was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and public intoxication. The disposition of those are unknown. We don't have court documents, but it doesn't look like she owes any money on those. Then another arrest was on August 14, 2022. She was arrested for DWI, refusal to submit to a chemical test, and improper lane change. She was convicted of the DWI offense, and the other offenses were dropped. She was sentenced to 1 year jail suspended and 3 days of house arrest, fines, and court costs. And again, she didn't disclose that's what brings her here today.
In January 2010, it was New Year's. I went to a New Year's house party. And what I can remember, we was passing drinks around. Everybody was in the house passing drinks around. Next thing you know, I couldn't tell you. They said my mind flipped. They just said I started doing everything. And I just remember waking up in jail. That was it.
Okay.
Oh, the other one? The other one, I'm very embarrassed about it. I went to the casino and yes, I was drinking and I drove home. And I'm very ashamed about it. And I could have hurt myself and hurt others. But yeah. I got arrested that night.
Can I ask you a question about that 2010 resisting arrest? So police were involved, or do you recall that?
I don't recall myself, but the police, they said I was fighting the police, just fighting everybody around, so.
Okay, and you can't, I guess, contest that because you
I
were that
don't-
intoxicated?
Right, I guess,
Okay.
I don't remember.
And then the 2022 DWI, where were you driving?
I was coming from, Southland Casino,
Okay, in
and I
West
was headed
Memphis?
home. It was about 5 minutes away.
You living in Marion then?
Yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
2022 incident that involved alcohol.
It did.
So what brings you to the world of pharmacy?
My job, I've been on my job like what, 16, maybe 16 months now. And this job, I really consider it as my career. I like it. And I am a shift lead there. And in order for me to stay a shift lead, she said I have to get my pharmacy technician license because I have to learn the pharmacy too. So I'm just hoping I get it because I like my job and I'm got older now and I did do what I did in the past, but I have learned from it.
That's Walgreens?
Walgreens.
Walgreens, yes.
Do you still drink?
No, I do not. At all. I wasn't understanding it. Actually, I thought once you pay your fine off and you're done with it, it was over and off your record. That's what I was thinking in my head. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Everything I done is a testimony for others. I wasn't trying to hide it.
Does anyone else have any questions of this candidate?
Ma'am?
I was talking to my group.
Oh.
And what is your job position that you're holding at Walgreens?
Shift lead.
Shift lead.
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you move it into
Pharmacy.
management, or you want to
No.
be a pharmacy technician?
If you're a shift lead or any type of manager there, you have to learn the front end of the
Right.
store and the pharmacy.
Okay. Great. Any other thoughts?
Normally, the board looks at if you've had more than one alcohol-related event. However, these are 12 years apart. The last one is not too far in the distant past, but they are at least 12 years apart.
I'll make a motion to approve unless there's additional discussion.
Like a second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Good luck with your career.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon.
Okay.
I'm good.
Stacy Gay. I did, I think.
There we go. How you doing, Ms. Gay?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. My name is John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy. I'm going to tell you who you're talking to this afternoon and just a couple things about our procedure. On this side of the table, we are staff members here at the board offices. Myself, Dr. Brendan McCready, who's our Assistant Director, and Ms. Ashley Bales, who's our Attorney and Legal Counsel. The other side of the table, we've got 4 or 5 now of our board members. Harold snuck in while I was out. But starting at the end, we have Mr. Harold Simpson, one of our public members, Dr. Rodney Richmond, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, and Dr. Clint Boone. We're here today. You have an application to be a pharmacy technician. And I believe you did check off something to let us know there's something to discuss. So thank you for letting us know that. Here in a moment, I'll turn it over to Ms. Bales to give an overview, and then the board members are going to want to talk to you about your application.
Okay.
Some point, they're going to make a suggestion for what they would want to do with it, and whatever decision they come up with, you could either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do today as staff and carry on. If you disagree, it's kind of your choice to say, forget this whole thing and walk away. Or you could say, I would like to have a hearing before the full board, which is a formal hearing at a future date, kind of as an appeal.
Okay.
Full board is 8 members. There's a hearing officer sitting here instead of me explaining everything, a court reporter, and you swear in like witnesses. It's just more like what you'd see going to court or like on a court TV show. So I always ask, you know why you're here today?
Why am I here today?
Do you know why you're here today?
Yes, because I want to have a steady income and I
Sure.
would like to succeed in life. Because right now I'm a server. I serve at a golf course.
Oh, okay.
And I want to just do more in life. Like I want to be a part of a pharmacy. Like I
Okay.
just want to, I really just want a steady income that is going to be steady as it can be.
Well, I'm sure the board members are going to hear more about that. The other thing I would say is if you have any questions about what's going on or how this process works, I realize you've never sat in that chair before.
No.
By all means, interrupt us, get our attention, ask any questions you have, and we will do our best to help answer.
Okay.
Okay, that'll turn to Ms. Bales.
So we brought Ms. Gay in here for the consideration of the committee. She has no criminal background. However, on the question on the application, have you been treated for drug or alcohol addiction or participated in a rehabilitation program in the last 5 years? Ms. Gay answered that yes. I've since spoken to Ms. Gay on the phone. She did attend a rehabilitation program. She was unable to obtain the records from that program because the facility doesn't exist. What you have in your packet is a record from an emergency room visit that it speaks a little bit about why she needed treatment. And if you'll look, she did test positive in the emergency room for methamphetamine. And if you look on pages 28 of 58 of the medical record, that sort of hones in on the doctor's notes and diagnosis for Ms. Gay. And I think she's here to explain that to you as well.
I'll read page 21. I had some other.
Yeah, there's screenings in there. I don't think Ms. Gay would dispute. She did test positive when she went to the emergency
did.
room. But sort of the doctor's diagnosis is on page 28 of 58 of the medical record.
Okay, you want to start telling us in your own words what was going on
Well,
with you at that time?
for about, since I turned 18 and I got in a relationship with this guy that was a couple years, 2 years, 3 years older than me. And I actually thought he was the love of my life. And then I found out he was doing drugs and I was young and I was dumb and I was curious. So he gave me some and I liked how it made me feel. So, and it was more of like, I was doing this because he wanted to, like he was addicted to doing this. So I was doing it with him. And then I got away from him. well, before I got away from him, he was shooting me up with a needle and I didn't know how to do it myself. And I was scared. So I got away from him. And then I was still addicted at that time. So I was doing it the way that I thought that I started doing it a way that was really disgusting. And I'm very ashamed of this. But I did it that way. And I'm sure you can read in the packet what it says, but I really don't want to talk about it. But I have learned from my mistakes. I'm really nervous right now. I've never sat in front of a committee like this. So,
Let me ask you a couple of questions. Maybe I can help you. So you went to the emergency room and that's the record that you gave us. And that was 2022, correct? And your intention was to get
clean.
treatment, start the process by going
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
emergency room. And so you tested positive when you went to the emergency room. And I think, let's see, page 29 of that medical record explains how you were ingesting, I guess,
Yeah.
the drug. And then after that, this record reflects that you left there without a plan necessarily to get into a treatment program, but you did go to some sort of
I
treatment
went to a
program.
place called Copesy.
Okay,
It
where
was
was that?
called Cross Benton.
Okay,
It was called Crosson Open Addiction Treatment Center. It was, these people owned a house where they did their treatment. Their name was Derek Crosson. His name was Derek Crosson, was the man that owned this facility. And I was in a house with women of different ages. I think it was like 4 other women I was in there with. And we had counselors that did swap shifts. They did morning shifts and then there was evening shift counselors. And we did we learned about, we read the book, the book. 12-step book, yeah. And we learned about that and we learned about topics and stuff every day. And then we got a little bit of free time afterwards. And it's hard for me to remember all this because I try to shut this part of my life out because I don't want to think about it because it's over with.
how long were you there at that house?
30 days.
And were you free to leave there?
No.
So
Yeah. We were free to leave.
Okay,
It was a place where you could freely leave. You could get all your stuff and leave.
so you weren't court ordered to be there or
It was
anything
not
like
court
that?
ordered.
So you stayed there for 30 days?
Yes,
And then during that 30 days, did you remain clean?
I sure did.
And then what have you done since you left? And when did you leave that facility? Do you remember?
It was September 15th of 2022.
Okay. And so since September of 2022, what have you done have you been able to maintain sobriety away from the drugs?
Yes, ma'am.
And how have you done that?
I give all the glory to the good Lord. Because I was in a situation where I was either gonna have to get sober or I was gonna be going towards my deathbed. Because I am a type 1 diabetic. Because my body was feeling drained. I felt so bad that I knew in my soul that I had to do better. I could not live like this anymore. And what I did is I started praying. I started crying to God every day. And I chose to separate my thoughts. I discerned my thoughts. The thoughts that were triggers, the thoughts that were the devil in my head, I pushed them away. And I focused on working because I had a job when I went into the hospital. I went to the hospital by choice. I didn't go to the hospital because of any physical pain. Well, I was in pain, but I really wasn't sick. I was sick because I was in my addiction, but I wasn't really in a lot of pain. I chose to go to treatment because I wanted to get clean. I chose to go to the hospital because I wanted a place where I could start, because I couldn't just do it by myself.
So do you have any treatment, outside treatment,
I
AA
go to
meetings,
meetings,
anything
I
like
go to
that?
meetings every once in a while, but they really bother me. Because in El Dorado, there's people that are just not the type of people you want to be around that go to meetings. And I don't go to meetings very much because I don't like being around those people. I stay at home and I work.
Okay, why do you want to be a pharmacy technician?
Because I'm looking for something, I'm looking for a career, and I'm also looking for a steady income. And I don't have any college degrees. I got my GED when I was 18 because I had a lot of trouble in high school. And I'm just looking for a career path to take.
And you stated you didn't want to be around those people at a meeting?
Like, there's people that would come into the meeting that would act on their drug addiction, like they would, like, let me give this instance. There was this guy, I didn't know him, but I had seen him at a couple meetings, and I had thought he was sober. And then he came in one day, he was really skinny, and he was screaming at somebody inside the meeting, talking about, he's a snitch, she's a snitch, and blah, blah, this. And I was like, I don't know, it just, when I see people that are addicted to drugs, it makes me uncomfortable.
You do realize you're going to see that if you work in a pharmacy.
Hmm.
You ever thought about that? I mean,
No.
there's, I don't know, half a dozen pharmacists sitting at this table and a couple more in the audience. And I will share with you that I have a lot of friends that are in recovery, and some of my favorite things that I do in my adult life is some of them will invite me to their birthday night celebration. And most of the time I see people in recovery meetings that look a lot like me. And boy, I'll tell you, there's some times when I'd love to scream at somebody too. I don't generally get to do that in my profession. But working in a pharmacy, you're definitely going to deal with people that are addicted to drugs, maybe high on drugs when they're there, and many times are not happy that you won't give them drugs.
Yeah.
So if you have an overall aversion to dealing with people that are either in active drug use, addiction, or recovery, then pharmacy might not be a very good place to work.
Right. Well, I don't mean that.
I don't take any offense by
Right.
what
I
you say,
don't
but
mean like I couldn't like talk to them or help them with the medical part of the situation. I just mean that sitting in a room with people that I've been around before in my drug addiction and talking about it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like talking about what I've been through because a lot of people would look at me and be like, what did you do? Why did you do that? Like they would like probably question my morals. And I'm ashamed of that.
well, and I mean, there's always going to be people that attach a stigma to any type of drug abuse. I mean, we'll have people, I don't know, I think tomorrow that, have struggled with some of that themselves that are, back working or practicing in pharmacy.
Yeah.
But if you're going to see some of those same people in a pharmacy when they have medical needs, and some of them it's probably going to be controlled substances. And at the same time, it's, whether you're in recovery or not, there are times when you have to take medication.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to deal with them, especially if you're working in the same area where you had lived and had your own life experience.
Yeah.
But I know some people in recovery that they're like, man, I'd love to work in a pharmacy, either because that's their background or they think they would be able to help people. And I have others that I know from recovery that they're very much like, I would never want to be behind a counter in a pharmacy because either that's too much temptation or I'm going to see too much stuff I don't want to see anymore.
Right. I don't think it's temptation for me. I wouldn't be tempted by being a pharmacy tech because I've never been addicted to pills. I take the medicine that I'm prescribed.
Sure.
Which is no narcotics. I don't take any narcotics. I'm not prescribed any narcotics, and I don't take those because with my mom growing up, she pushed them on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I took them at a young age, and I know how they make me feel, and I just don't, that's not something that would tempt me anymore because I know how they would make me feel.
Let me understand.
At about the age of 18 is when you were introduced to methamphetamine?
Yes, sir.
And then you were addicted to meth for about 6 years?
Yes, sir.
And you used it on a frequency almost daily?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so then almost 3 years ago to the date, you presented to the ER and subsequently you went into detox after that. But before that, you had tried detox and you had relapsed, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when was the last time that you used meth?
I can't put a date on it.
Well, I'm not going to ask you to say August the 27th, but I mean, can you narrow it down to a month and a year?
Well, I can say 2022 for sure.
Okay. Would it have been
It
after
was
you?
the summer of 2022 was the last time I used meth.
Okay, so would that have been before or after going to detox?
Before.
Now, tell me, when was the last time you used marijuana?
When I got out of rehab, I thought I could still maybe smoke marijuana. And I had like the symptoms I had when I smoked marijuana made me panic. They made me have panic attacks. So I stopped. And that was probably August, September, October, November of 2022 was the last time I smoked marijuana.
Okay. And how about alcohol? When's the last time you used alcohol?
Maybe the 4th of July
Of this summer?
this summer, but
Okay,
it was just one day.
okay.
Any questions for anyone else? Thank you.
Put my microphone on. It's documented and she confirms that she had tried detox before and had relapsed. That she had used something, cannabis being a substitute drug for meth. It doesn't sound like the alcohol is or was a problem, but it was mentioned alcohol use. It didn't say alcohol abuse. But given that this has all been within less than 3 years, and just based on self-statement, her concern being around others who go through this, I would have some concern about giving her a license.
I'll ask a different question. Is anyone looking to make a motion to approve at this time? I don't believe so. So are you offering a motion to deny or offering the opportunity to withdraw so there wouldn't be a more if she went after something else showing she had a denial?
I'm more than happy to allow her to withdraw, but certainly if she disagrees with what our recommendation is, she could ask for a full board hearing it that way as well. So
Yeah.
she could choose either, I suppose.
So what I'm reading over here, and they have not taken a vote, is you've got 5 of our 8 board members. And at this point, no one is going to make a motion to approve your application. Usually when something like this happens, they oftentimes will make an offer that if you wanted to withdraw your application, it prevents them having a vote to deny the application. If you want to withdraw, they basically just say, thank you for coming today, and you walk away. If you don't want to withdraw, it pushes them to basically either have a denial or push it to a full board meeting. They would issue a denial. If there was some other job where they asked, have you ever had an application for any type of professional registration denied, you'd have to put yes then. And it looks like it's another negative mark against you. But if you don't like what 5 people had to say today, you could ask for a full hearing, which is a formal hearing, like going to court before the full board, but that's these 5 plus 3 more. So if you got to get a majority vote on something, I don't know that you're going to be able to get a majority vote different than what you're hearing today when you've got a majority of the board present.
Yes, sir.
But I think their question would be, would you like to withdraw or do you want them to vote?
Withdraw.
Okay. So if you'll withdraw, we'll mark it that way. And that way you do not have any negative mark against you with the Board of Pharmacy. And you know what they say is, thank you for coming in and encouraging you to keep going forward and doing good.
All righty.
Okay. All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I miss anything else? Brenda said no one, she said that no one even wanted to talk since it was her running it. It was done so well that they had no comments.
You comprehensively covered the issue.
I guess I'm just overly verbose and
Actually,
force
she
people to
put
talk.
the votes in her pocket before before the meeting started.
Good deal.
In fact, if you'd have been gone just one more hour, we were going to make her director.
She might have vetoed that one. Yeah. Tab 12. How are you doing this afternoon, Mr. Lyons?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I hope it's still sprinkling outside, but I doubt it is.
It's actually dropping a couple sprinkles, but not enough to count.
Not enough to get you wet.
Yeah.
Even to get your windshield wet enough to clean it. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the Board of Pharmacy. I'm going to tell you kind of who you're talking to up here at this table this afternoon and a couple things about our procedure. On this side of the table, we're all staff members that work here in the board offices. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready, who is our assistant director, Miss Ashley Vales, who is our legal counsel and attorney. On the other side, we have 5 of our pharmacy board members, starting immediately to my left, your right, with Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of this informal conference, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Rodney Richmond, and Mr. Harold Simpson, who's one of our public members. We're here today because you have got an application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas, and you did tell us someone was going to come back and send it to us. So thank you for being proactive and honest in that. In a moment, I'll turn over to Ms. Vales to give the board members an overview of your application, which they're just now seeing on their little tablets, and then they're going to talk to you about it.
Okay.
At some point in this process, they're going to say what they want their vote is to make a decision. Since it's an informal conference, it's something you could either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do and process it. If you disagree, you kind of have a split decision at that point. You could either say, man, forget this and walk away from it. Or you could say, I want a hearing before the full board at a later date. The full board would be at a formal meeting of the board, which when I say formal, I mean it's all 8 members of the board at this table. There'd be a hearing officer here instead of me, a court reporter. Everyone swears in, and it is much more like a court proceeding or procedure. It's just a more formal procedure.
Understand.
So I was asked, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about how this works?
Kind of, you've explained it. It kind of makes sense.
I realize you've never sat in that chair at any point during this. If you've got a question that you need to ask us, you want some clarification on something, wave your hands, get our attention, ask us any questions you have, and we're going to do our best to help answer that.
Okay.
Ms. Bales?
And we brought Mr. Lyons in for consideration today. He did disclose that there would be something on his background with regard to criminal history. And there is a couple of things. October 9th, 2024, he was arrested for theft of property, a B felony. And then the next day he was charged with theft of services, a C felony. He made an appearance in circuit court on May 16th, 2025. He entered a negotiated plea of guilty to a reduced charge of theft of property, a Class A misdemeanor. He was sentenced to 12 months suspended sentence, court costs to pay, and $5,253 in restitution. His first payment was due, I guess, last week or so, August 1st, 2025. He was also ordered by the court to remain on good behavior and commit no new offenses and pay as ordered to do.
Good. How are you, ma'am? Pretty much the incident was a former employer that I had. It was a normal thing that we were allowed to do, is borrow money if we needed to pay something. As long as we paid it back, we made our supervisors aware of it. I made my supervisor aware of it in a verbal. I didn't send it to her because it happened quite often. We just had to get verbal approval through through our supervisor. I approved it to borrow some money, with the intentions of paying back with a bonus that I was receiving in the next month or two. She didn't communicate it or denied that I ever talked to her about it. I'll be honest with all managers that we had. I was a store manager. All managers that we had were allowed to borrow money and pay as long as we paid it back. It was no big thing. I'd worked for the company for 14 years. We've had, there's borrowing money and paying it back all through there. Did not know that this would present a problem. An audit was done at the store. A spontaneous audit was done at stores, which they happen from time to time. They asked where the money was. I told them I borrowed it. I was straightforward with it. Didn't try to hide anything from them. She denied that I had said something to her. There were circumstances, I think, that she chose to deny it for a reason, but I'm going to own to anything that was in there. It was my responsibility of the money, and I had it and like that. But my intention was to pay it back. It was never any kind of malice or change in that. It was paid to take care of some medical bills that my mom was sustaining and some other things that was going on with my kids. But in any point, did I have any intentions of trying to deprive or not pay back any kind of money that I borrowed?
What kind of business was this?
This was a convenience store.
Okay. And so the owners of the convenience stores allowed you to borrow money?
The district managers allowed it. And then anybody above it was as long as it's passed through, it was allowed.
How did you go about borrowing the money?
We had like a petty fund for the money that we had through this that uses for the store inside the store, and that's where.
And so you took it out of
The
petty
cash,
cash? And so when did you borrow the money?
I borrowed it like a month or two before the incident happened.
And it was around $5,000?
Around that. It was more like 4,000. I don't know where the 5,000
Well, the
comes.
5,000 comes from the court order. So that's what it says you owe in restitution.
Okay. But yeah, and I get that part. That's where the total comes later. Also be advised, I've paid all that back and the fines of the court costs. I currently owe nothing to that. I've made sure it was taken care of like my intentions were to begin with.
Okay. But you're still on a suspended sentence for a year, right? Correct?
Yeah, I don't.
You haven't been discharged from the sentence completely.
I know that I know that I've been told that I don't have anything else to do, just behave myself. That's all I've been
Right.
told.
Maintain good behavior and commit no new
And
offenses for a year.
that incident happened last October, and I behaved myself since then. I have no intentions of it. I do want to let everybody know I've spent 47 years of my life not getting into anything. For 15 of that was law enforcement. I have no intentions of ever creating issues or committing a crime.
Okay. But you just went to court in May.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it got put off and put off.
Yeah. Okay.
So the sentence will be until May, is the way it looks.
By my math, it'd be a suspended sentence until May of 2026. Even if you paid everything and
Yeah.
did all the money part of it, I think you would still have to remain on good behavior and commit no new offenses for that time.
So my understanding, y'all have an honor system on borrowing $5,000?
Well, obviously, this has come to light. Now they're trying to say that that's not allowed since then. But there's been, it's more of a thing that the higher ups allowed, as long as the district managers were okay about it, because the district managers were the ones that ultimately were responsible for it.
But no paper trail, no one,
No, ma'am.
yeah. That's a little bit different. Does anyone else? Dr. Richmond?
I don't have any questions for this gentleman. I would just want to think out loud. I mean, generally, we don't approve permits if we have outstanding
Probation or imposition of sentence
Right.
until it's
that has to be
complete.
fulfilled successfully and completely before we'll issue a permit, right?
Generally, yes. And if you were going to follow that kind of usual thought process, then the question is, would you consider a reappearance? Would you consider voting to approve once that's completed? Like what would you want the next step to potentially be if you're ready to even opine on it?
I guess time-wise, I mean, we're aware of it now. If his nose kept clean until now, until the end of probation, I think there are times that we've looked at the circumstances and said, okay, all costs have been paid, all probation has been completed. We can move forward. I think the issue becomes, well, I mean, what do we think of this $5,000 honor system petty cash? And
What was the separate charge for theft services?
I can explain that. I drove stores. It wasn't just one store that I'd run in, and I had a ATM box that we're switching out from another. And at the time that I was arrested, they didn't know that I still had that they thought I'd returned it to the store. So they
Wait.
thought I stole that.
Back up again. So you had theft of property arrest one day. The next day you had theft of services charge.
Because
So what's the theft of services charge for?
what it is, I had an ATM box because I was switching out ATM boxes from one to another store. Because
Okay.
one box that needed to go to another and switch back to the other. And so I brought it back to the store. They didn't know that they had it at the time. The other store manager did that I was switching the boxes out with. They thought I'd stole the money that was inside that box, and I never did. It was clearly there. It was later found after I was arrested the second
Okay,
time. That
so
charge was dropped.
The only conviction is that reduced charge of a
Yes,
misdemeanor
for the yes.
both of those
Yes,
arrests.
ma'am.
Okay.
I have a misdemeanor charge only.
Yeah, that's a little confusing.
One was dropped and the other one is what I did the court system through.
Okay.
I don't know that it makes any difference, but I have some letter of recommendation from my current district manager who just was promoted to the Dallas area. I also have letter recommendations from a couple other pharmacists that I've currently been working with. They've been around me. They've seen how I operate. They've seen where it comes through with any kind of future working.
in what sort of setting have you been working with pharmacists?
I have been working, actually currently a store manager for Walgreens. I've been working with the pharmacist as in a basically glorified cashier at the front counter, dealing with them, trying to learn from them where I can, where I wasn't violating any kind of rules and regulations. Just basically being a cashier and communicating with them.
Can we get those
Currently, you're a
letters?
Walgreens employee?
Thanks.
Okay.
And this is something that I do have to have with my, to keep my job. Yes, ma'am. I went ahead and one of them I picked in hand, the other ones were emailed or faxed to me. I left the fax sheet with them or any kind of contact with them so that you can see authentic, that they're authentic.
Yeah, you can just pass.
Hey, Brenda.
We can just pass them.
If they can just pass them, we can make a copy of them afterwards.
And I understand that you guys are not in a practice of doing something with somebody on a probationary term or suspended sentence term. But I can assure you that if they're given the chance, you guys will not see my name again except for good statutes. I've spent my life doing stuff to make myself in good statute. This was one issue that I never seen coming and there was no ill intent.
Did you have any comments? Dr. Boone? Hey, just a second, Dr. Boone, then I get to you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
If I could ask a question, which of the three people on the references are aware of your legal issue?
The DM is, the pharmacist, I haven't shared my personal thing with, but the DM is my supervisor. Yeah, my immediate supervisor. Yes, sir. The other ones I'm actually considered in Walgreens as their supervisor, but I work with them.
Back to you.
Comment was. Here's suspended sentences. I would be comfortable voting for approval. Pending that, I don't think there's a reason to bring him back in at that point if nothing new's happened, and everything's completed with the court.
So is that a motion you're making? Okay.
I mean, I can make it into a motion.
Dr. Richmond?
Comments are.
Well, I would concur, and my only concern is that we need to be consistent. Because if we make a decision on a number of cases in one way and then we make an exception, then all of them need to be considered as exceptions. And so I think as a matter of rule that anytime there's been pending fees or restitution that needs to be made or probation's not been completed, that we've simply not approved until that was over. And I agree with Dr. Boone that I think that once this probation period is done, that I would find his application approvable.
I agree.
May I make one comment?
Go ahead.
My understanding by my attorney, I understand, you guys probably know this more than I do, but I'm not under any active anything where anybody's supposed to watch over me. I'm not under any supervision of anybody. I don't have anybody that I have to go to. It is directly me doing my normal stuff. I see you guys see it as a probation. And maybe it is into a point. But it's not like I'm answering somebody or I've been in a situation in the past of where my track record has shown anything but what I was going to do. The type of person I've always been. I understand that you guys have a certain guidelines that you guys go through and you got to set a certain example in a certain line with people. But I just ask that my previous history and everything else of the rest of my life come into the decision-making. Showing that, I mean, that's got to count for somebody when you're in front of a board. And I don't mean that disrespectfully when I say that at all. If a person's carried their life 47 years and they got into a little speed bump, it's hard to continue keeping that good life if you're not given the chance and somebody giving faith in. That's all I ask.
I will agree with part of what he said. It's a suspended sentence, so he doesn't have a probation officer that he has to report to every month. But if he does not maintain good behavior and goes out on the corner when he leaves here and commits some crime, which I'm sure he won't, but if he does, then he will be in trouble with the court and have to go back to court and answer to this charge and the new one if he gets in trouble. So he's not under direct supervision, but the case isn't closed, essentially.
And that's what we're looking for, is closure on the case.
I think with regard to Dr. Richmond's point, that's usually what we look for, is for everything to be closed out. Most of this is closed out, but he's got to wait that 12 months and remain on good behavior. And if he doesn't, it opens this case back up potentially.
My point was not to, in any form, disrespectful. I was just saying that I've proven to the point, it's up until for 47 years that I can behave myself and be an outstanding citizen. And I had one thing that come up I just ask that you guys have faith in some of the situations. I understand you're a board, have faith in how my track record, what I've accomplished in the past to show towards that I'm not somebody that's going to go out there and recommit a crime. I have a 13-year-old daughter that I'm taking care of. I have no reasons to go out there or no want to go out there and get into any kind of stuff whatsoever. My tasks right now is to go to work, take care of work, come back and take care of my daughter. I have no interest in getting in any trouble, just like my previous track record showed. Just saying. Again, I don't mean that disrespectful in any form or fashion, just putting my input.
But I understand your concern that you want to be given credit for the good life that you've led. But we're not in the position to retry that case. I mean, the decision was made with a 12-month suspended sentence and payment of restitution. They had the facts on which to base. We simply are now making a decision that given someone that for whatever reason, they have a suspended sentence or they're under probation or they still have pending fees or restitution that needs to be made, that until those things have been completed, it has typically not been our position to issue a permit. And so we're not retrying the case and we're not subjecting our value judgment based on whatever it was that happened, but we have to be consistent in the guidelines that we apply. So that's what we're saying.
And I completely understand that, sir. I'm not in any form being disrespectful towards those rules. I just ask that you guys take into account, I understand that you have a rules. But just take into account of somebody's track record when you're making those decisions is all I ask.
And I might be able to lend some clarity in this because I've been here like over 20 years. I think that your ultimate wish would be that they would just go ahead and waive their usual procedure and say yes today. But I think that you also don't necessarily have the perspective of there are many times where someone will be under a suspended imposition of sentence or probation and their vote would just be flat out no. I think that they're actually giving you a huge amount of consideration and grace of the fact of your explanation, your candor and what happened versus saying this appeared to be felony theft and we're trying to send someone or we're considering sending someone into the only place on earth where the things that you are there to guard are worth more money once they're stolen. Like if you steal gold jewelry, it's pennies on the dollar, TVs or anything else, but drugs are worth more money. So I know you don't know this because you haven't been in that chair before, but this is to me, they're stretching to do what it appears to me of considering saying, you know what, if he can show us once this is complete in a letter from the court that it's complete, staff can go ahead and approve him. You'd have to probably give us a new application because this one would expire, but without having to reappear before the board, without having to have a formalized hearing and waiting for another hearing date or anything else. So I think what I'm hearing is they're considering saying, once he can show us that that sentence is complete, staff can sign off on it.
And, and I understand and I appreciate that. I really do. I'm just coming from a person that I will probably, if this has been delayed till next year, I will probably not have my job in the next month. And it's not your guys' fault, that's on my own. But I owe it to myself to try to convince, that's all.
Well, and hopefully your employer will take the time to watch this and see that we've said, hey, we're gonna approve it, given that within a year or 9 months that this is all resolved. So, this is better to go back and say that than to say, they told me no, I've got to wait until then to reapply.
Okay, are we, not gonna make a decision? Just leave things as they are?
I would make a motion to approve once the 12-month suspended sentence is completed and
Okay.
he said court costs are already taken care of.
Sounds good.
Staff can go ahead and issue.
Yeah, staff can do it,
Okay.
doesn't have to reappear. Probably, like I said, the application will be expired by then, but
And I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Do you understand what we just did for you? Okay,
I appreciate it.
yes, sir.
Do I have concerns on my part? Yes, but I do appreciate what you guys have done. I understand what you have.
Wish you good luck.
I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you. May I leave?
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't want to get it before you guys.
Thanks for bringing those letters.
You're over. Thank you.
How are you today?
Good, how are y'all?
All right.
First name.
For you.
Right. Ms. Burton, I'm John Curtley. Turn on my microphone. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy. I'm going to kind of tell you who you're speaking with this afternoon. Just a couple things about this procedure as we start. On this side of the table, we are all staff members here at the Board of Pharmacy. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our Assistant Director, and Ms. Bales is our Attorney and Legal Counsel. On the other side of the table, we have 5 of our pharmacy board members, and I like to switch up. So I'll start on the far end again with Mr. Harold Simpson, who's one of our public members, Dr. Rodney Richmond, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal conference, and Dr. Clint Boone. In this process, the board members are just now looking at their little tablets because they're getting a copy of your application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas. On that application, you told us that nothing was going to come back in your background, but that's not what we found, unfortunately. So in a couple minutes, I'll turn it over to Ms. Bales to give an overview of your application, and the board members are going to talk to you about what was actually in your background and also why you didn't tell us that as part of the application. At some point during this, they're going to come up with what their suggested decision would be, and that's something that you could either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do today. If you disagree with it, it's kind of your choice to either say, forget this and walk away, or to request a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. You don't have to make that decision sitting there right now. But a formal hearing before the full board is all 8 board members, these 5 plus the other 3. You have a hearing officer, a court reporter, and everyone gets sworn in. And it's a more formal procedure like when you actually have to go to court. So I always ask, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about how this works?
No, sir, I have some, letters of recommendation.
Okay. When I turn over to Ms. Bales, if you don't mind, I'll grab those from you and I'll make copies for the board members. But at any point during this, if there's something and you don't understand what's going on and you've got a question, because I realize you've never sat there before, by all means, wave your hands, get our attention. If you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer them. Okay.
All right, we brought Ms. Burton in for consideration today. She did not disclose any arrests or charges on her application. She did have a couple of things pretty recent. First one is July 27th, 2022. She was charged with harassment and assault in the 3rd degree. She appeared in court on April 29th of this year. She pled nolo contendere, not contesting the charges, and was sentenced to a 1-year suspended sentence. The case was continued to October 21st, 2025 to be dismissed at that time. Then on January of this year, January 3rd, 2025, she was served with an arrest warrant for domestic battery in the 3rd degree, a Class A misdemeanor. She went to court on May 5th of this year. She pled no contest and was sentenced to $750 fine and court costs, 1 year jail suspended, with 6 months probation with the Justice Network, and then her case will be dismissed. But then on May 14th, 2025, a motion to reconsider was filed with the court, and that case was dismissed at that time.
All right. You want to tell us in your own words what happened?
So the first charge, I've never been in trouble with the law until this year. January 3rd, the father of my child put his hands on me while I was 7 months pregnant. I filed a restraining order against him, and I also put charges on him. He went
You
to
move closer to the microphone,
yes.
please. Thank you.
He went to jail, and once he got out, he decided he wanted to go put charges on me. So that's how I ended up getting arrested. And I felt like that wasn't fair because he hit me due to the fact that I tapped his leg and I asked him if he was coming with me. And he didn't say nothing. He just hit me in my face and he kept hitting me over and over again. So this woman who was keeping me updated with his case is attorney Phoebe Curtis. I contacted her and she contacted Miss Samantha Bowen. And Miss Bowen was like, that's not fair. So that's how I got the case dismissed and the charges dropped against me. The other charge, I honestly didn't know nothing about it until January 3rd of this year. It was a family member who was involved. We've been around each other after 2021 because that's when she pressed charges against me. I didn't know nothing about it until the incident with the father of my child. I went to court and he told me, he asked if I wanted, how did I want to plead? And I pled no contest. And I explained the situation to him. And he said that since we was family and we've been around each other, that in October, that if nothing happened, that he would drop the charges. But the thing is, she came to my job after we had already had words that Friday before. She came to my job and I didn't say nothing to her. She said something to me first. That's when I responded back to her. And her mom said something, which is my auntie, and she passed away, but yeah. She said something to me and I said something to her. The police was called and I'm assuming that's when she put the charges on me. But in West Memphis, they don't tell you when people put charges on you. I guess they just wait till they pull you over and run your name. And yeah, that's it.
So you're going back to court in October for that charge with the family member to be dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I cut all contact with her. I haven't, if she walking my way, I go the other way.
Okay. And then the domestic, you went back to court and asked him to reconsider that because the attorney said it wasn't fair and the judge agreed with you and that case got dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So
You're
why do you-
waiting on one.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Why do you want to be a pharmacy technician?
because ever since I got my two certificates in the phlebotomy technician, I knew that helping people and working with medicine is something that I've always wanted to do. And I have a newborn baby. He's 5 months now, but he's still a newborn in the early stages. And that's really who I'm doing this for.
So you've worked at the West Memphis Public Library for over 6 years?
Yes, sir.
Can tell you still working
Yes,
for
sir.
them? Okay, full time?
Yes, sir.
So do you have to deal with difficult customers sometimes in your current job?
Yes, sir. Every day. Every day.
So how do you manage that?
Well, I'm good. I like to think that I'm good with the public. Like, I come out with a smile on my face. If they have an attitude, I still keep the smile on my face. I ask them like, hey, how can I help you? They respond. Like, I'm finna give y'all an example. Our printer has been down for the past 3 days now. We don't know when it's gonna come up. A woman cussed me. She cussed me out because I told her that our printer was down. And I just told her, ma'am, it's okay. Don't leave angry, just leave. Because at the end of the day, you being mad at me, that's not gonna solve nothing. So when I told her that a place down the street, they do printer services. They fax, they laminate, they make banners, business cards, they do it all. Eventually she called back and she apologized. And she was like, I thank you for being respectful and not stooping to my level. And I said, anytime, that's why I'm working this hard to get this now, because I know how it feels.
And the reason I ask, and I understand that the situations that popped up are not, they weren't dealing with the public, but they were confrontational situations. And so it's good to hear that you have to deal with that because you're going to deal with that in a pharmacy setting as well.
Yeah, I know. I witnessed it the other day also.
Okay.
But yes.
I was just gonna say, kind of similar deal since like we've got till October to resolve. Changes between now and then, make a motion. Approve pending definitely clear.
Just to be clear, the one from January of this year has been dismissed, so it's a non-issue. The other one is pending dismissal. So that would be a non-issue afterward.
October. So basically, what we're saying, what that would mean is once you get cleared with the court in October, we go ahead and okay staff to issue the license at that time, just because typically we can't issue it as long as there's something outstanding.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. So did you understand what's gonna happen?
Yes, ma'am. After I get the case dismissed, then I'll be issued my license.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, no, yeah, you'll communicate back to the
Yes.
board.
Try to be sure and do that by the end of the year, correct? When will that license,
Yeah.
or that application?
It'll pharmacist her this year,
Okay,
but if she, she would have paid for the 2 year.
So do you feel pretty good about it getting dismissed in October? Is it actually just scheduled to be dismissed, or? I guess, Ashley, I'm asking you a question while you're not at your mic. Okay, okay. Okay.
I have too much to lose.
All right,
Thank you,
goodbye.
guys.
Take care.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
Library got upset too.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
Phone is ringing right now. That's.
Oh, how are you today?
Carter. All right, tab 13 for us. How are you doing, Ms. Carter?
I'm good.
Good deal. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who you're speaking with this afternoon, just a couple things about this procedure. On this side of the table, we are staff members that work here in the board offices, myself, Dr. Brenda McCready, who is our Assistant Director, and Miss Ashley Bales, who is our Attorney and Legal Counsel. On the other side of the table, we have 5 of our pharmacy board members. So Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal conference, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Rodney Richmond, and Mr. Harold Simpson. These are decision makers for you today. We're here with your application to be a pharmacy technician, and thank you. You let us know proactively that something might come back, and that's part of what we're going to talk about today. In a moment, I'll let Ms. Bales give the board members an overview of what they're looking at, because they're just now getting this on their tablets as they're flipping through and reading it. And then they're going to talk to you about your application and the stuff that happened in your background. At some point, they're going to come up with what type of decision they would like to make on your application today. Whatever they decide, oh, sure, you can either, agree or disagree with. And the easy way to put this is if you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they ask us to do. If you don't like what it is that they offer, it's not a decision you have to make sitting there right now. But you would basically be given the choice of either saying kind of forget this and walking away, or to request a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. And I say formal hearing, that is all 8 members of the board. So these 5 plus 3 more. There'd be a hearing officer, a court reporter. You get sworn in like you're a witness in court, and it's just a more formal proceeding than the conversation we're having today. So I always ask 2 questions. Do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about how this works?
No, I've never been through this before.
That is a great point to make. I realize since you've never sat in that chair, if you do have a question about something that's happening with the process or anything during this, or any clarification you'd like, by all means, wave your hands, get our attention, and we'll try to help answer any questions you've got. I'll turn it over to Ms. Bales.
We brought Ms. Carter in for consideration this afternoon on her pharmacy tech registration application. She did disclose that she had had an arrest and been cited for something, and also that she'd had a case expunged. And one was from December 22nd of 2002, where she was arrested and charged with DWI and possession of marijuana, Class A misdemeanor. She was found guilty and fined $2,220 in fines and court costs. Her driver's license was suspended for 6 months, and she was ordered to do 24 hours in jail to be served on Saturdays and complete program, and she complied with the court orders. Then on September 23rd, 2019, she was arrested and charged with battery in the 3rd degree, a Class A misdemeanor. On November 22nd, 2019, the court took the matter under advisement and agreed to dismiss the case after 1 year with good and lawful behavior. And the case was dismissed on November 20th of 2020.
Okay, with the possession or whatever, I was 18 and it was like over 20-some years ago, and to this day, still paying for it because I'm sitting in this chair as we speak. But I definitely learned my lesson. You know, I'm also a pharmacy, a phlebotomist, a CNA, working on medication aid. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it pays that when you young, you know, making careless mistakes. My mother, 4 kids and 1 in college, 3 in school. They're active sports, you know, and I basically have did the whole 360. Like I was 18 and I'm 41 today. And I truly regret the decision that I made then, but wanting to be grown, rushing to be grown, ready to be grown, led me in a grown situation. And like I said, I got it expunged for reasons due to I did not know 10 years later, 20 years later that it would become a part of your future due to a mistake. You know, at the time I was a user and I was a drinker, but I literally do not do none of that no more. As far as the battery, it was 2 friends just having a disagreement, and she was an alcoholic, not blaming her, and she kept putting her hands on me, but I put my hands back on her. But we still friends to this day. She have wrote a letter on my behalf, and she, you know, made a mistake. I just made a mistake. And I have not put my hands on nobody since then, and working on getting that off my record because I didn't know it was dismissed, but I didn't know it was still on my record. As well as, you know, being honest about what happened. I was honest because it was a lady that's over mid-age, and I had asked her if I got it sealed, do I need to say I did? And she said, yeah, just be honest about everything. Because you think when you get it sealed, they won't see it. But even if, you know, I just did what I was supposed to do. And this is a new experience to me. And it's like, wow, that cost me my life. I could have come out my license because I took the class 2 years ago. And I thought you just supposed to work on a certificate. I didn't know you need license to work in a pharmacy. So this is the procedure that I'm taking to finally get my hard copy, if y'all consider it.
Anyone else have any questions of this candidate?
So you did the pharmacy technician training course?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
It was from it's from April to June.
Okay.
It was at Costa Community College.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Public discussion. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Any nays? The motion passes. You're getting your license.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah.
God, thank y'all so much.
You're welcome.
Is that
Gonna take you out and we'll try to get it for you right here.
okay, thank you.
Good night. Thanks for coming in. Unless you don't want to agree with them.
I agree with you. Thank you.
Jasmine Brown.
Not out there. Had one this morning that didn't show up too, so.
We'll take a break till the next one shows up.
We'll wait till you see tomorrow. It's even better.
Tomorrow's even better.
Yeah.
You have complained about tomorrow.
the one where it's simply easier to ask it than it is to think about it or figure it out. It's like usually, you know, before handheld calculators were around, you would add up string of numbers here.
It was fine. It was. How are you doing, Ms. Moore?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about who you're speaking with at this table and a couple things about our procedure. First of all, on this side of the table, we are staff members here in the board offices. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our Assistant Director. Ms. Ashley Bales is our Legal Counsel and Attorney. The other side, you have 5 of our pharmacy board members, starting off with Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal conference, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Rodney Richmond, and Mr. Harold Simpson. We're here today with your application to be a pharmacy technician in the state of Arkansas, and you did let us know that, hey, something might come back that we'll need to discuss. So thank you for being forthright and letting us know that. The board members are just now seeing this. So in a moment, I'll have Ms. Bales give an overview of what was in your application.
Okay.
Then the board members are going to want to talk to you about it. And at some point, they're going to have some suggestion for a decision.
Okay.
Because we call this an informal, you can either agree or disagree with whatever it is they come up with. If you agree with it, we do whatever they've asked us to do.
Okay.
If you disagree, then at that point, you kind of have 2 choices. One is to say, forget this and walk away from it. The other choice would be to request a formal hearing before the full board at a later date.
Okay.
And we call that formal because it is a more formal procedure. It'll have all 8 board members, a hearing officer, a court reporter. Everybody gets sworn in as witnesses, and it's just a proceeding more like what you would see go into court.
Okay.
So I always ask, do you know why you're here today?
I do.
Any questions about how this works?
No.
If that changes, if there's something that you want some clarification on during this process, I realize you have not sat in that chair before, so wave your hands, get our attention. We'll try to help answer any questions you got.
Gotcha.
All right. Turn it over to Ms. Bales.
We have brought Ms. Moore in for consideration today. She did disclose that there would be an arrest or charge in her criminal history. On November 17, 2019, Ms. Moore was arrested and charged with neglect of a child without great bodily harm, a felony, and resisting or obstruction of an officer without violence, a misdemeanor. On July 19, 2019, she went to court and she pled nolo contendere, not contesting the charges. And on those 2 charges, she was sentenced to 5 years probation, 25 hours of community service work, a $200 fine and court costs and credit for the jail time she had served. On November 22nd, 2024, her motion to terminate her probation early was granted.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Okay. You want to tell us in your own words, what happened here?
Yes, ma'am. So the day in question that it happened, I was at home with my son. He was 3 years old at the time. He's now 9. I put him down for a nap, and then I went moving around. At that time, I had just took the door handles off my door, and he got out. And I was in the front part, so he was looking for me, obviously. So he went out our back door, and someone found him, and it wasn't even 5 minutes before I even it was no longer than 5 minutes that I noticed that he wasn't in his bed or laying down. And then my neighbor had him, which she called the police. He came to my house. He questioned me in regards to the matter. Initially, he said I wasn't under arrest. He was just there to ask me questions. I guess he didn't like my tone or the fact that at that time I was just questioning him more than he was questioning me. So then at that point, he arrested me.
And so initially it was just a resisting arrest. So that following week, I went and filed, well, no, the end of the week, that Friday, I went and filed a formal complaint on the officer. And the next week, they had a warrant for my arrest for child neglect. The Department of Children and Family in Florida closed the case at the time, and within a month with no findings, they came out to my house. My mom at the time knew the state attorney because she works with the Department of Children and Families also, and she advocates in mental health therapy for children. So they told the state attorney ended up telling her that the reason why they pursued charges is because the officer was well connected, and I went and filed a formal complaint. So it was 2 years. I ended up just taking a plea deal in 2021 because it happened in 2019. So I was kind of over it and, not knowing too much about law. And I just was like, whatever, I was over it. So that's really what happened. So yeah. Sorry.
And it also says you had a career in pharmacy. Tell us about that.
I did. I started in 2016. I started as a trainee with CVS. From there, I worked there for like a year and a half. From there, I moved back to my hometown. After me and my child's father split, I just moved back to, where I'm from. And then I pursued a hospital pharmacy. So I was pretty much successful in my career up until the point, I still was able to, get jobs. I had to stop looking for a while, but I was able to, start back working in the pharmacy more so, working from home. The time being where I was on trial, it didn't really show up on my background, so it didn't really have an effect. I worked mostly contract positions through this one agency, Alliant Health, where they were getting me COVID contracts with different hospitals and different non-sterile and sterile processing, not sterile processing, I'm sorry, non-sterile and sterile pharmacy technicians. I've worked with the Florida cancer specialist where they offered me a training position, but just because, the situation, I didn't take it. It kind of deterred me from working with the state of Florida, a pharmacy position in Tallahassee, where that was the job that I really wanted. Just because of my background, but it's held me back quite a while. So I'm just really ready to move forward and just, I don't know, put it behind me, I suppose.
Okay, what brings you to Arkansas?
My mom moved here in 2021. She got married. I'm an only child, so unfortunately, they didn't, they divorced or separated. So I just moved up here to be closer to her. And I just had a lot going on in Florida. I was just ready to get away from that.
And what are you doing for employment at this time?
This time I'm not working, I'm unemployed. I'm just actively looking. Okay.
And all this is all clear?
Yes,
in Florida?
Yes.
Okay.
Were you represented by an attorney?
I was. I had a private attorney that I that I hired. That's all I can say.
Did you discuss not taking a nolo contendere or pleading guilty?
Yeah.
Went to trial?
I did, and he just kept coming back for the last 2 years. It was like that was all they would offer me, and it was just so much. I don't even know. So, and I was kind of going through it by myself. I didn't really talk to anyone about the situation, so I didn't really know what to look for, what not to look for on his end. On that end, as far as like not taking it and maybe taking it to trial. But when I did speak with him about taking it to trial, it was kind of like, it could be way worse. And he was just telling me that this probably would be like the better choice for me to take this and that they would do. So I wasn't actually convicted on the neglect, it was more so the resisting arrest, trying to get me for the resisting arrest. So that would stick, so I wouldn't later come back and maybe try to sue or something like that. Is what, after the whole situation, is what we,
How many times total did a child escape from your home?
once.
Once?
Yeah, that was it. He's never.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Was that a motion, Mr. Simpson?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The motion passes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Got one more. Randall Mitchell.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, how are y'all?
Hey, Mr. Mitchell, I'm John Curley. I'm the director of the pharmacy board. I'm going to tell you a little bit about who all you're talking to today and just a couple things about this procedure to kick off. First of all, the board members are just now seeing a copy of your application on their tablets. While they are looking at that, on this side of the table, we are staff members here that work in the board offices. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our assistant director, and Ms. Bales is our legal counsel, our attorney here. On the other side of the table, we have 5 of our pharmacy board members, starting at the end, Mr. Harold Simpson, then Dr. Rodney Richmond, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who serves as the chair of this informal committee, and Dr. Clint Boone. We're here about your pharmacy technician application today, which once again, they're just now seeing. And on it, the questions about, mine will pull up, anything come back in your background. You said that nothing would, but we found something that did come back. So they're going to want to talk to you about what that was and also why you didn't disclose that on your application. But they'll get there in just a second. The big things are, this is an informal conference. We're having a conversation basically back and forth across the table.
Okay.
At some point in this conversation, they're going to come up with what action they would like to take on your application. These 5 folks will, and you can either agree or disagree with whatever it is they come up with. If you agree with it, we go forth whatever they ask us to do as staff. If you disagree, and it's not a decision you have to make sitting there in the chair right now today, but you kind of have the choice of either saying like, forget about this and walking off, or to request a formal hearing before the full board, is basically an appeal.
Yeah.
Full board is these 5 members plus 3 more. Instead of me being up here explaining this, there'd be a hearing officer, a court reporter. You swear everybody in like witnesses, and it's called formal because it's a more formal process, like what you'd see if you went to court or watched a court show on TV.
Yeah, sir.
So I was asked, do you know why you're here today?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about how this process works?
Not right now.
Okay, and that's the best way to put it. If you do come up with a question or something that you want some clarification on, by all means, like, raise your hand, get our attention. I realize you've never sat in that chair and been through this before. So any questions you have, we'll try to do our best to help answer.
Yeah.
Okay, turn over to Ms. Bales.
And we have brought Mr. Mitchell in for consideration on his application. He did not disclose any arrests or citations on his application. But on June 16, 2023, he was arrested and charged with theft of property, a Class A misdemeanor. He pled nolo contendere, not contesting the charges, and was sentenced to fines and court costs, and he paid those in full on February 21st, 2024.
All right, you want to tell us about that incident?
Situation.
Mhm.
You know, so we had went to Walmart. Well, me and my girlfriend at the time did. We went grocery shopping, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, we went grocery shopping at Walmart. We were grocery shopping, and then decided that she wanted to go and look at like baby clothes. So we went to look at baby clothes. And then she also decided to start putting the baby clothes into her diaper bag. And we went to check out afterwards. And then as we walking out the door, you know, like the secret shoppers stop us at the door and then they asked us to go to the office. And then that was pretty much it.
Both of you.
Yeah, since I was with her, yeah. They allowed us to like pay for the groceries and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they was watching her on the camera put the stuff in the bag and waiting because they can't really do nothing until you're walking out the door, and then that's when they turned us around. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, so, what brings you to the world of pharmacy?
I've been trying to figure out I have a daughter now myself that turns 3 in December, and I'm like trying to figure out a career. So, and I think pharmacy is something like I want to look forward to.
What are you currently doing for employment?
I do DoorDash and I work at Amazon. But before that, I was working at Children's for almost 2 years. I was a chef there
You work where?
at Children's. Before I worked there, I was working at Children's for a year and 7 months.
Okay, so you're a cook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I like to cook. So.
How would fix it for patients to ship upside?
Really both, wherever they needed me at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, it was baby clothes is what you all had taken?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a quick question. Why did you not disclose the arrest on the application?
To be honest, I really didn't know all of that was on my record. I didn't know because we went in for fingerprints and then they kind of let us go. So I ain't know that was my first time being in any type of incident like that. So.
But you did go to court on it, right? Yeah.
And that's where they set up like the payments for how much we were gonna have to do.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, so was that not a second? All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any nays? Motion passes. So you're gonna become a pharmacy technician?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Good luck. Thank you.
I can see what the rest of this shirt says. I can see part of it.
This
Okay.
yeah.
That makes
This
sense
was a
there.
birthday shirt. I waited 7 minutes before it came after my birthday. It already came. But all right, thank you. Nice meeting everyone here.
That's when you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah, for today. Oh, yeah.
One more, okay. Right up here.
Thank you.
How are you today?
Doing good. How's everyone?
Good.
Well,
All right. Ms. Manuel, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy. And I'm going to tell you just a couple things about who all you're speaking with this afternoon and how this procedure works. On this side of the table, we're staff members here at the Board of Pharmacy. We work here every day. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our Assistant Director, and Ms. Ashley Bales is our Attorney and Legal Counsel. On the other side of the table, you have 5 of our Pharmacy Board members, Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the Chair of our Informal Conference, Dr. Brian Jolly, Dr. Rodney Richmond, and Mr. Harold Simpson. They're all decision makers here today. We're here about your pharmacy technician application, which you told us nothing would come back on, but we did find some stuff, which the board members are going to want to talk to you about that, as well as why you didn't tell us that in just a moment. They're just now getting a chance to look at this.
Okay.
In a second, I'll turn over to Ms. Bales to give them an overview of your application, and then they'll have that discussion with you.
Okay.
At some point, they're going to come up with whatever action they want to take based on your application. And since it's an informal conference, that gives you the chance to either agree or disagree with whatever decision they make.
Okay.
If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do as staff. If you disagree, then it's kind of your chance to either say, well, you know what, forget this and walk away, or to request an appeal to have a full hearing before the full board, a formal hearing. That's these 5 members plus 3 more people, hearing officer, court reporter, everybody gets sworn in. It's just a more formal proceeding, kind of like when you go to court.
Okay.
So do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
Any questions about how this works?
No.
Okay. If at any point you change your mind on that, if you've got a question about something that seems confusing, I realize you haven't sat in that chair before, by all means, wave your hands, get our attention, ask us any questions you've got, and we'll try to do our best to help answer it.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Bales?
And we brought Ms. Manuel in for consideration today. She didn't disclose any arrests or charges on her application. There is one from May 17, 2018, where she was arrested and charged with possession of controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia, both Class A misdemeanors. On May 31st, 2018, she entered a negotiated plea of guilty and was sentenced to $560 fine and court cost, 30 days jail suspended, driver's license suspended for 6 months, and community service work. According to her statement, she had some marijuana in her backpack at school. She has complied with all the court orders, but the charge remains unsealed and it's on her record. And again, she didn't disclose.
you want to explain?
Okay. So the first part about me not disclosing the information, I was aware of me getting a charge, of course. That was my first time ever getting in any trouble or having any charge of or anything. So once I went to court, I spoke with the judge and I asked her to seal it or expunge it. And she told me once I completed the community service and things that I needed to do that it would be expunged off. So I've done other background checks. I've been security guard. I applied to work at TSA at the airport and all of those, and nothing had came back up on my background. So I didn't know how sealed and stuff worked. So I assumed that it wasn't there anymore. I didn't know what happened to it.
Okay, so what are you doing for employment at this time?
Right now, I currently work at St. Vincent Hospital. I do registration in the hospital.
Okay. How long have you been there?
I've been there about a year, but before that, I did registration at UAMS Hospital for about three years.
When was the last time you used marijuana?
That was then whenever I was 18, and that was the last time once I got in trouble and I did my community service and everything. That was it. I quit and just focus on getting a better future for myself now. I'm a mother now. I don't use any drugs. I'm just doing the right thing.
So the last time was 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion. We grant her a permit.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity today.
You thinking about staying in hospital or doing retail?
I've been seeing the pharmacy tech in the hospital and I've been interested in that, doing like inpatient pharmacy tech.
Okay, all right. Good luck.
Thank you.
We might. Yeah, well, we're adjourned till tomorrow. Who all's coming tomorrow?